But allow me to also engage Benson Abira, joining us from the county of Kisumu. He is the founder and network chief executive officer of M-taka, certainly leaning towards technology to address this problem. Benson, how are you leveraging on technology to achieve the set goals that you have?
Thank you so much. First of all, I think in line with the conversation we already had, and especially the angle of moving towards circular economy, I think it's important that we focus on towards behavior change. And when you talk about how we are leveraging technology, I think it invites me to the aspect that we cannot transition towards circular economy, or we cannot transition towards sustainable waste management practices if we don't have the consumers at the center of what we're doing. And for us, we've been able to develop digital tools that ensure that the generators who are the consumers are able to interact and access the services of, say, waste collection and recycling in a more easy way, so that then they're able to also play a part. It's easy to, of course, throw blame or point fingers at different people in the ecosystem. But I think that if we do not tackle the problem from the source, if we are not able to engage with the consumer and build the capacity of the importance of, let's say, separating their waste at source or managing their waste the right way, then this entire ideology of us transitioning to a better system of managing things will not perhaps be achieved. So for us as M-taka, we've really been at the core of ensuring that, one, we're able to promote education and awareness through the digital platforms. We're able to ensure that the aspect of incentivization, because if you're telling me to manage my waste the right way, how are you, perhaps, convincing me to even take that action? So we believe in the concept, of course, if you're able to gamify the whole process, but most importantly, give people rewards for their action, then they might be motivated to perhaps take action. So we really look at, if you're getting people to know the right practices, incentivizing people to lock down this particular action, but then also you're able to leverage the data component. Because if I don't know, say, the amount of waste I'm producing, if I don't know the trends of waste in terms of what I'm handling, then it's difficult for me to even, say, make a good decision. So at M-taka, we really understand that it's important to have the consumers know their role, give them a way of interacting with the service providers so that they can be incentivized for their recyclable materials, the plastic, the glass, and everything. But at the same time, also support the people who are doing recycling so that they can also know the trends of the work that they're doing. But most importantly, if you look at, say, addressing the gap that we have in the ecosystem, if you're just building the capacity of consumers to do the right thing, whether the manufacturer is designing for of course, recycling, it is very key people that do this work, especially around the first mile recovery, also need to be incentivized. And that comes with the component of market access and fair pricing, and that's what our technology is enabling. So on top of building an application for people, we also we built a marketplace that enables the guys who are doing the services in the community to be able then to access a better market for their products.
Okay, so how do you then intend to help such initiatives through your the M-taka solutions that you have created, you have founded rather?
Yeah, thank you. I want to empathize with what Samuel has just shared. And I believe, and even if you circle back to what Sonia mentioned, it's important that we incentivize the sector. So first of all, the reality of the frontline, the waste pickers who are handling the job, of course, in terms of getting the gears and the safety of the work, I don't think there is support that has come in, and of course, as echoed KEPRO, and even as we've done quite a bit of work in supporting waste pickers. But I believe that a lot more could be done, and I normally circle back towards the idea of fair pricing. And I know people assume that waste pickers get a lot of money in their pockets. May be true, but I believe that if you look at the entire recycling infrastructure, as what Sonia mentioned, it's below 10, 20%, 20% globally, below 10 in Kenya. And if the recycling rates are not even high enough, you cannot expect the people earning from that to get enough income to go back home with. So I think it's important that one of the ways that people can also open up that sector, we are doing that with technology by ensuring that more households and more people are aware of the service provision that these people are offering, and also they're aware of the recycling, so then they can contribute to adding more recyclables to these guys and ensuring that the income is even higher. But But one of the key solutions that I would really advocate for is that people have to invest in that ecosystem. If you talk about the concept of value addition, right? By just adding value to plastic, the price goes higher. And if someone is earning little from what they're collecting, if you're able just to increase that by 10, 20%, it means that then this person goes home and they're satisfied and they're proud of what they're doing. So really, if we even look at the aspect of, let's say, positive brand positioning, showing that it's okay to do waste work, incentivizing young people to get into waste work, you cannot really do that if you cannot show someone that if I get into this, I'll put enough money in my pocket and I'll go home happy. So we try to really look at that entire chain where as you involve consumers to bring in recyclables to them, you also support them to even earn better from the ecosystem so that people are really encouraged to
yeah, but then if their primary problem at the moment is the process of the waste collection, and then you are talking about technology, that speaks to connectivity, is it first, then the aspect of literacy. I mean, doesn't this pose another challenge to a population that already may not have internet connection, for example, to get informed, to get awareness about waste management? How do you also overcome that secondary challenge of technology, which poses challenges to the people who might not have the connections, especially in the informal settlement, where that is rather seen as a privilege?
Right. We think people don't really have access, but people are really tuned in. And of course, it can be a challenge accessing the internet, but people have access to information. So one of the strategies that we've used, of course, even beyond, getting awareness and leveraging the digital platforms, is you build communities of recyclers, people who understand that it's important to transition to sustainable waste management. So and this we've done strategically. When you go into a particular community, there are people who sort of are opinion holders and they shape how people, do their things. And of course, if you go and bring people together, build their capacity on perhaps the importance of doing the right thing, it's also relevant to ensure that the same community that you go to, there has to be that respect that they give to the service provider. Mm-hmm. Normally, if I don't respect someone coming to collect waste at my household, and I don't see them as a human being, I don't see them as someone that I should interact with, I would not really care about their work, right? But if you bridge the gap between the consumers in the community and the people offering this service provision, and there's that respect for their work, and their work is dignified, then, of course, even if someone doesn't have access to the internet and cannot tune in and cannot use technology, just the perception of this is the right thing to do as a consumer, this is the right thing to do as someone who wants to build a cleaner community around me, that's really what we go. So that's really part of the way that we drive change. Yeah.
How can then your application, for example, the leveraging on technology, help this in terms of providing accurate data that will help in the proper management of waste?
Yeah, I want to perhaps highlight that I think the two biggest challenges that we have is the component of getting accurate data, but also the component of segregation of waste at source. We talk about it, and again, I really love what Sonia talked about, the consumer decides notion. But you talk about it, but it's still a long journey to get people to really understand how to separate their waste at source. But I think that if we just stick to that path, there are really two ways that we can approach to ensure that we can either improve data accuracy and enhance the efficiency of what you do. One way that our application is contributing to this is that the collection of real-time data. If you're able to get real-time data and monitor really what's happening from the household level, what's happening from what waste service providers are collecting, what's happening from, let's say, the volume and the type of waste being collected. This information is very important, both from the agencies designing solutions, but also people collaborating to know that where do we need to put concerted effort. When you talk about, let's say, awareness and education campaign, then you want to, let's say, target a particular household in a particular community and say, we need you guys to do ABCD. You cannot do that without data being at the heart of what you're doing. But also the accuracy, we are integrating AI, and AI is very critical, especially in the aspect of predictive analysis. So if you're able to really know the trends and patterns around, how people really, the behavior of people, how people generate waste, if you're talking about, let's say, pollution, and you're talking about the types of brands that are out there, if we can track and know that really this is what is out in the environment, this is what is out on the streets, out in the rivers, but this is what really also the consumers are are using and disposing wrongly, we are really able to build upon that. So I think it's important to support the aspect of data accuracy by getting the real-time data on all these processes and also leveraging tech to analyze the data. But also it's important to improve the efficiency. So one of the things that we've done is we've built an integrated system, and of course the component of having a marketplace, because if you look at, say, what Samuel was talking about, people being able to do actual business in the recycling space. If I don't know where I'm going to get the right market for product, then I may not be incentivized to start, right? But even if I start, say, I open a buyback center in the community and I know really where I can get money, it's one thing to start, but because the informal nature of the sector, it's easy for me to start what I'm doing, but then it's easy for someone to come and give me, a low price, and I'll be discouraged to take part in that. So one of the things that M-taka has done in building, a marketplace and a data hub is that we're encouraging, really the West entrepreneurs. The West entrepreneurs, they are starting that, they're able to, access market, get fair pricing, know what's going on. So that way, we are bridging the gap. Of course, data is trapped, but most importantly, people are in the loop, and with this, we can really move forward, as an ecosystem.
Yeah, and Benson,
the ecosystem to have a conversation. I'm grateful that KEPRO device, right? If you talk about EPR and what PROs are trying to put together, with data, it's easy to go and take advantage of the polluter pays principle, right? But if I am an aggregator at the community level, I don't even understand, how much I'm recycling, and I don't put myself up for success, it's very impossible. So we are trying to be the interface between this person at the ground who is really trying to do amazing work, like Samuel is saying, and the people who have the resources. So let me just use the word polluters. People who really, they can invest money to ensure that people can grow. And if you talk about investment, you talk about the government, it's important to recognize that waste management, the last time I checked, is still amongst the bottom 5 underfunded sectors in Kenya. It's informal, right? And if you're going to have a conversation with the government and tell them, it's important to incentivize this space, and I think we also have to be very critical that they need to have the data. They need to see the potential of the green and circular economy really opening up opportunities for jobs. Research by Andy says that the sector is worth $54 billion. But if you say it and don't demonstrate it, no one is going to be putting in resources, right? We see technology and the platform we've created as enabling data to open up the sector for investment, data to open up the income and the earnings of people in that sector, but also, of course, tech presents itself. You can, leverage automation in the facilities and all that. But for us, the conversation is around behavior change and data for increased income.
Okay.
Let's work with consumers to know that it's a responsibility to take care of their waste, and that way, both people from the government to consumers really will know their role in driving us towards a sustainable and circular economy.